Approval of elementary ELA resource. Approval to purchase Wit and Wisdom core ELA resource and professional development for grades 3 to 5. Now, I think last month we tabled this to May, and I just wondered if there was any new information that we could provide our public, Dr. Chance, things that you might have done to accommodate parents viewing the resource, etc.
Sure. The primary thing that we did to satisfy that requirement, Dr. McNeil, is we did provide shortly after our last board meeting all of the texts associated with the program, as well as the teacher manuals shortly thereafter. I believe the day after we put the text out, perhaps 2 days, along with some comment sheets so that the texts were available for anyone to come and view and provide comment on. Certainly internally, we've had our own conversations as well. I personally have met with our building principals. I've met with several of our literacy specialists, our ELA supervisor and curriculum leader, and a variety of other folks. Actually, have spent some time also speaking to other districts, nationally, who have implemented the program. Made some actually plans to speak with some more local school districts as well. We've actually discovered there are 5 other districts that are somewhat nearby who are moving in this direction, even since we've made those decisions. And so I'm making plans to reach out to them as well. But nonetheless, we've done quite a bit of legwork around just confirming that this is indeed the direction we do believe that we should go in, and do continue to feel like this is the best direction for us moving forward.
Dr. Chance, did we have any feedback from parents who were able to review the resources?
We did. We have, I want to say, and they're still out there for anyone who would like to view. They're actually right outside staff B here, and will remain there through next Wednesday. We had, I believe it's 5 total separate parents who have come and commented. Not all commented on all grade levels or all aspects, but that feedback is out there. Actually, one of the first commenters was the one that pointed out that they'd like to see the teacher manuals, and so that prompted us to put those out. And so, those comments are out there to actually be seen by anyone who comes to look at those materials.
A couple of questions. Should we go forward with this program, and I understand many students do well with it, is there something in there for students that this isn't the right program for them? I mean, do we make sure that we're meeting the needs? I know there's Wilson. I'm not familiar with all the programs we have. Are we continuing with that?
Yes, yeah, and actually through our MTSS model, K through 5, in our with respect to students who might be demonstrating some reading deficits, there's a variety of other programs and resources that we have to be able to utilize for them, to differentiate for them, or to provide some more direct instruction in their area of need.
And then if parents have questions about a particular title of a book, do they have options there also? Just so people are clear.
They do, and that actually, I've had some questions about this too in the last month, and in general, actually, we have a policy associated with the parent's right to forego certain components of the curriculum if it happens to conflict with the religious beliefs. It's policy 105.2. It's existed for many years. You'll actually notice too, if you take a look, there's some associated administrative guidelines with respect to dissection, and also there are parents who utilize this policy when it comes to our human growth and development units and those types of things. And so I think to your point, if there are particular components of the curriculum or different books that parents would prefer that their students don't read, the policy actually reads that the principal will work with those parents, and it's something we do on a fairly regular basis, given the 2 examples I just provided, to either provide them with alternative texts or alternative assignments while that unit is ongoing, and then we work with parents in that way.
Thank you.
Dr. Chance, one of my concerns is professional development and how we're going to make sure, with such a great mindset change on how we're teaching reading, how we're making sure that our teachers are prepared to embrace this new method. The other thing I'd like to talk about is our instructional support staff are integral in making sure that this program is successful. Are we going to make sure that they also get training?
Yes. Now, I don't want to forward your mouth. Let me address the first one first. So our professional development plan, particularly for grades 3 through 5, we're fortunate that if we move forward, particularly in May here, that we've got all next year to provide that level of professional development prior to implementation the following school year. So certainly time is on our side there. Great Minds provides 2 full days of professional development directly to teachers, which it starts to get to your second question. I believe that even with our K-2 teachers, in addition to those 2 days that are provided for teachers, we also included our building principals, our literacy specialists, and instructional coaches in various components of those trainings provided Great Minds. I believe last meeting as well, I mentioned that our ELA curriculum supervisor and curriculum leader meet on a bi-weekly basis to get feedback in terms of supporting implementation going forward. And so I guess in short, particularly with 3 through 5 as we move into next year, the plan is to put on a full court press in terms of using our professional development time, early dismissals, et cetera, to provide the support that's needed for our teachers to be ready to implement the program.
I was also thinking of our aides, because they're also going to be integral in the classroom, because we're going to include everyone. And so that to me says there's going to be another person in the classroom. Usually that's a paraprofessional. Will they also get training?
To be honest, I don't think we have a plan for that at the moment. You make a good suggestion. The challenge for us always when we're training our aides is they don't always have the same amount of time available for us to be able to do that in terms of when they work. So that would require us to think outside the box a little bit, but it's not something we haven't done in the past, particularly with special education aides, et cetera, in order to provide them the necessary training. And so certainly we could begin to plan for that if we haven't already. Again, in speaking with our ELA curriculum supervisor, frankly, she's done a really nice job of facilitating this process from beginning to end. So it's quite possible that there's a plan in there that isn't fully developed yet. But if it's not, certainly it's something that we can attend to.
Dr. Chance, I have one more question. You provided a document from a school district. I believe it was Williamson or something, and that school district had adopted this program, Wit and Wisdom, and after adopting it had some objections from parents. So they formed a committee and looked at each of the text selections for each grade. And I thought that document was so well presented, because not only did they give the number of people who objected, what their objections were, and they also had now they probably did say who was on the committee. I can't recall that right now, but they took a look at each book and then determined whether or not they were going to use the book as it was meant to be used, use it with adaptations, or remove the book. And so I wondered, because there were 2 books that they removed from instruction for children. So do we have any plan to do something like that so that we can allay any fears, worries that we have just given a cursory look to these instructional materials?
So I at this point, we don't have a plan to convene a committee per se. And the report that you referenced was 114 pages in length. And so I'd be lying if I said that we had planned to develop a report that comprehensive. And actually, to that point, since that report was prepared and is available for us to look at, perhaps there's not a need for us to do that level of in-depth analysis that they did in terms of replication. But what I can say is that we do plan to read those books in that manner. When I say we, our ELA curriculum supervisor and curriculum leader actually spent much of their spring breaks reading a lot of these books, even since our last board meeting, to do sort of what you're alluding to. And then once we actually order the books, we plan to have teachers have the opportunity to read them as well. And that's much of what we'll be able to spend time doing next year. And in the event that there are texts that we might not utilize to the fullest extent in terms of the way the program articulates that we should use them, we can certainly make those levels of adaptation, perhaps swap those books out, use excerpts as opposed to the whole thing, or again, to your point, forego using the whole book altogether and use a different text. But that is something we do plan to do. I believe I referenced that at our last meeting as well, once we have the books in hand.